Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, the year 2022 is coming to a close. We are moving into 2023, and I can't believe how fast the year went by, man. It's getting pretty crazy. We're already on our way to 2023, but look, here, you see in the title of the video, man, I'm here to discuss the worst movies of 2022. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised because my list is normally longer than what I came up with. Normally, I have at least like 15 to 17, 18 movies on this list, and then I can narrow it down. This year, I literally had 10. Like, I had the perfect amount. It was only 10 bad movies that I felt like were the worst of 2022. Now, I do have one honorable mention film that I do have to discuss about, but don't necessarily put it in the same category as the rest of these because, well, I'll explain why, but let's just get to my honorable mention. But either way, guys, look, this is my top 10 worst of 2022. Let's get into it. Alright, so for my honorable mention category, look, you guys can kind of, I guess we can label this my most disappointing movie of 2022. Look, like I said, please separate it from the rest of this list because it's not even close to the worst. There have honestly been worse movies than I've seen than this particular film, but I had to put it on here because I just never got a chance to like mention it or talk about this film, and like how after it's set, like it's came out months ago, and after it like sat with me throughout these months, and I actually had an opportunity to rewatch it like a few times. It just gets worse and worse to me, and it just makes me more upset because of what this movie possibly could have been. And just to cut to it, guys, that movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Look, I know a lot of people are probably sitting here saying, what? How could Thor Love and Thunder not be on this list? Well, Thor Love and Thunder, I didn't walk in with sky-high expectations. Gore was very good, and I just enjoyed. I wanted Gore to be a great villain, and and that's what I got. I got Gore being a great villain. Granted, there was a lot more comedy in Thor Love and Thunder than I guess we really needed, and not enough action, like, the blending between, action and comedy in Ragnarok. But Thor Love and Thunder, I didn't really walk in with like huge expectations. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, however, I had very high expectations for it. And honestly, the whole blowing up of WandaVision, how that just became so overly popular and everybody wanted to see Wanda and damn near everything after that, it kind of ruined this whole movie for me. I mean, look, now, Elizabeth Olsen and, her portrayal of Wanda is phenomenal as far as WandaVision goes. In this movie, however, I didn't think she was necessarily needed to be the villain, but like I said, WandaVision blew up, so here we are. Now, what this movie originally was supposed to be, and the reason it's so disappointing to me, because originally this story was supposed to have Scott Derrickson returning as the director in this film, and then he was going to do the villain Nightmare, and Mordo was probably going to play a much more pivotal role than in this film than he did in the actual cut of Multiverse of Madness. And that movie just had so much potential. Nightmare is a phenomenal character. They were going to make this a horror movie, give this movie horrific elements, and I thought Scott Derrickson was the perfect choice for this film because rewatching Doctor Strange, which is one of my most underrated Marvel movies ever, that movie is so good. Scott Derrickson was really building onto something there, and it was foreshadowing a lot, and we just didn't get any of that to come to full fruition in the Multiverse of Madness because Scott Derrickson couldn't, he couldn't fulfill the dream that, all the fans wanted, and that was make Wanda the most popular villain in the world, and he didn't want to be a part of that, and so we got the movie that we did. Now, like I said, it's not necessarily Wanda's fault that she got so popular. Elizabeth Olsen did a fantastic job in WandaVision. WandaVision is still one of the best Disney Plus shows out to date. It's not better than Loki, but it is one of the best. Now, like I said, she deserved all the praise that she got in that film, but for them to just completely take everything that this movie was going to be and replace it with what we got, it's kind of a slap in the face to me, at least. Like, I did not enjoy, I didn't really enjoy the whole Wanda story, if I'm being real. Like, I really was hoping that it would just be, I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. I was hoping that either Wanda's story would just be a lot better than what we got in the film, and it was just like, Nightmare would have just been a much better idea. And like I said, it was a waste of Mordo's characters as well. Like Mordo, I was really looking forward to him and Strange's conflict building upon what happened in Doctor Strange 1. We didn't really get much of that at all. I don't think we got any of it at all because he met a whole nother version of Mordo in this film. And then, honestly, another thing, the multiverse part of this film is just a complete mess. Now, this isn't the fault of Sam Raimi. This isn't the fault of Elizabeth Olsen. This isn't the fault of Benedict Cumberbatch. It is, however, the fault of Kevin Feige and how Marvel just decided to, eat too much off its plate. It just did way too much with this film. The multiverse aspect of this film is an absolute mess, and it's what kind of makes me very upset about this film itself. First of all, John Krasinski showing up as Mr. Fantastic. If you haven't seen Multiverse of Madness, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I apologize, but I mean, normally you guys, you've seen plenty of pictures of it by now. But John Krasinski as showing up as Mr. Fantastic was one of the most underwhelming cameos I've ever seen in a Marvel movie, and I was excited to see fucking Howard the Duck in Guardians of the Galaxy. Even that gave me some sort of joy. Watching John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic was so underwhelming because once he popped up, I had a feeling he was not the choice for Mr. Fantastic. So that whole thing just flew out the window once he popped up in that film. It didn't feel like this was the true introduction to who our Mr. Fantastic was. So it just felt like a bunch of fan casting, which is what it was. It was straight fan service, fan casting. They just wanted to make the fans happy because they were coming off a movie where they made all Spider-Man fans happy with, the previous renditions of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, having them coming back in No Way Home. They decided, hey, let's do some more fan casting in this movie. That's the thing. They decided to take the success of WandaVision and No Way Home, combine all of that into this film, and they just made it a complete mess. They just ruined what Doctor Strange was building to be and what Scott Derrickson was really going to take this story. I'm making this honorable mention very long, but I this is a rant for me, guys, because I really just have so many issues with this movie. It's very disappointing to me. I just couldn't do it. Like I said, John Krasinski's cameo was very underwhelming. I honestly wanted him to be the MCU's Mr. Fantastic, but once I saw him in this film, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew they were just doing this to make the fans happy. Now, granted, the way they all die is very creative. Charles Xavier showing up is always legendary. Look, that's Professor X forever and always. So I was very excited to see Patrick Stewart show up, and the way he died, was pretty sad too. But like I said, I just felt like the multiverse aspect. America Chavez was cool in the film. She was all right. I guess she didn't really get as much time as she possibly needed in the film for fans to resonate with her, but she was okay. But like I said, this film really just got taken over by the multiverse aspect. It just combined a bunch of ideas into one film, threw the word multiverse in it, and just made us think that we were going to go on this journey and be introduced to a bunch of different storylines and timelines and X-Men characters, etc., and we didn't get any of that. We just got a bunch of garbage, in my opinion, just a bunch of throwaway material, and the only thing I can take away from that film is I'm excited to see where Charlize Theron's character takes us in this next thing. But that's my honorable mention, guys. Now, like I said, please separate that from the rest of this list, because while I do have good things to say about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I have nothing good to say about the rest of these films. I mean, they have some redeeming qualities and some versus the other, but I'm comparing shit to shit, so you're going to have redeeming qualities when you're doing that, but trust me, these next 10 movies are painful, so let's get into number 10. Alright, so at number 10, we got Ambulance. Look, this movie probably would have been a lot better had Michael Bay just not had anything to do with this film whatsoever, because there's a lot of great talent in this movie as far as Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Isaac Gonzalez. Like, this movie has a good cast. For an action movie, it had a decent plot, but here's the thing. Like I said, Michael Bay is what just makes this movie so unwatchable and just so out of this world, not even in a good way. It's just absolutely ridiculous, man. I mean, first of all, this dude, Michael Bay, literally cannot keep a camera steady on anything when it comes to explosions or action sequences at all. My head is literally spinning around in circles trying to keep track of everything that's going on in this damn movie. And on top of that, this dude is literally sitting there just praising, giving homage to all his old films in this movie. And I'm just like, dude, you're not even that good of a director to be doing this. Why are you paying homage to all your shit? Well, he made Bad Boys, so I think there was definitely homage to Bad Boys in that movie. So I'm not going to disrespect Bad Boys, but the rest of your movies, dude, you are not that good of a director to be paying homage to yourself throughout this entire film. I'm just watching you basically do everything that basically people complain about Michael Bay movies is in this movie on full display. Like, this is literally a highlight of Michael Bay's worst moments in a singular film, and that's just what this is. Like I said, it could have been a lot better had Michael Bay just not had anything to do with this movie, but you add Michael Bay and that's what you get. You just get a complete recipe for disaster, and that's what Ambulance is. Alright, so at number 9, we got Firestarter. Look, I'm sure a lot of you people forgot that this movie even came out this year. I wanted to forget it myself, but I couldn't. Look, I'm I'm not even that mad at this movie because I knew it wasn't going to be good. This movie, in the first 5 minutes, literally told you this is the first 5 minutes of the movie literally tell you this is the only original idea we have for this. The rest of this thing is just going to be a shot-for-shot remake, and we're just going to be trying to get to the end of this thing because we have absolutely nothing for you here. I mean, this is one of the poorest attempts at a Stephen King remake I've ever seen in my life. And Pet Sematary tried harder than this movie, and even that didn't do well. But this movie, like I said, I can't be too mad at it because, like I said, I knew it wasn't going to be good. It really just didn't have much potential here. It's Kurtwood Smith literally was in the trailer making me think, oh, there's going to be an interesting character twist here. No, Kurtwood Smith is in the movie for 2 minutes and he's on his way out of there. He collected his check and got the hell away from this movie. Don't blame him. Zac Efron is the most they really should have put a random guy in this movie, but I guess because of the name Firestarter and because Drew Barrymore blew up off this film, they needed to put some sort of star power in here. I don't even understand what Zac Efron's doing in this movie, man. I don't understand what his purpose is at all. He really should have been casted by a random actor. He doesn't really need to be in this movie whatsoever. The young girl, she's okay, I guess. Like I said, this movie is just really forgettable. Firestarter. That's honestly what this movie can do. This movie can literally start fires because you will be that pissed that you finished this damn movie. If you let this whole thing play out, by the end of this thing, your living room will probably be on fire because that's what this movie does. It causes fires and it's just complete ass. Alright, so at number 8 we got Don't Worry Darling. Look, I'm actually pissed at this movie because I had a lot of expectations for this. Look, Florence Pugh is a star. Harry Styles, I enjoy Harry Styles. Chris Pine, Nick Kroll, all great actors. Gemma Chan, yep, Gemma Chan, wonderful actress. And Olivia Wilde, she's okay. She's not that bad. And honestly, I just had a lot of expectations for this film. I even convinced myself with all the bad press that this movie was getting, the fact that Florence Pugh wanted nothing to do with the casting, or Olivia Wilde herself, and Olivia Wilde was just doing whatever the hell she wanted on set, having sex with Harry Styles between shots and all this other stuff, just doing absolutely whatever she wanted, to the whole Harry Styles didn't he spit on Chris Pine thing. Like, I thought with all that publicity, this would be a more this be like one of those movies where it's so bad it's good sort of thing, where you can actually get some enjoyment out of this. Nope, they built all that publicity up so that we could go see this thing and just waste all of our time. First of all, this movie, the most interesting concept of this movie happens in the last 20 minutes of the film. I mean, the most interesting part. I think this movie is like it might be 2 hours, but I think this movie might be 2 hours. But I'm literally sitting there for at least an hour and 30 minutes, bored out of my mind. I'm watching Florence Pugh literally try to escape from this thing. Like, that's what the movie feels like to me. It feels like in the movie, she is trying to escape from the, suburban town or whatever. But in my opinion, watching her, it's like watching her actual, Florence Pugh try to escape from this movie set, and they just won't let her because she doesn't want to have anything to do with this movie at all, man. I mean, honestly, all the characters in here seem like they've been brainwashed, absolutely brainwashed, and they've just been forced to do this. Olivia Wilde's directing debut couldn't have gone any worse, if I'm being completely honest with you. Like I said, Olivia Wilde, what the movie kind of comes off as to me is one of those birthday parties where the parents have to invite, all the kids, and the kids just got to be there. They don't even know the kid like that, and they just have to put up with the kid because they all got invited. And honestly, if who the parents and the kid are in that situation, Olivia Wilde is the parent. She invited everybody. Harry Styles is the kid, because nobody wanted to be with any of those two, or nobody wanted to deal with any of those two on set. I mean, look, this movie is just a complete mess. It's a complete clusterfuck. It couldn't have gone worse. Like I said, Florence Pugh is doing her best acting. She's doing her best to just put up with whatever's going on screen here. Chris Pine, I truly think he did crack. I truly think Chris Pine tried crack before stepping on set and shooting these scenes, because I'm not sure. I'm guessing these people literally had to do whatever they needed to do to get this shit over with. And it's crazy because Nick Kroll's name came across the credits in the trailer, and I'm thinking to myself, Nick Kroll is a pretty good actor. I think he's going to play an interesting part. Nope, he's just loud and obnoxious the entire time. I just can't. None of these characters, except for Florence Pugh, were worth watching. This was just a complete disaster. It was a very boring film, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just a complete waste of your time, man. Like I said, the most interesting concept happens 20 minutes. It happens in the film with 20 minutes left. You are literally left sitting there saying, if that last 20 minutes would have happened at the halfway point of this movie and we would have built on that, we would be talking about a much better film. But it's a directing mishap by Olivia Wilde, and you made the list, girl, so congrats. And if we're talking about a complete waste of time, money, and just people's, efforts on screen as actors and actresses, dude, at number 7, I got Amsterdam. First of all, how do you put together a cast of Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie, who else is in this thing? We got Rami Malek, Anya Taylor-Joy, Robert De Niro, Zoe Saldana, Timothy Olyphant, not you, Taylor Swift, and Michael Shannon. You have that cast put alongside the director who made American Hustle and Silver Linings Playbook, and this is what we ended up with? Are you kidding me? This is one of the worst ensemble movies I've ever seen in my life. First of all, the characters in this movie are just absolutely wonky, man. They're just complete whack jobs. Christian Bale, I don't understand who wrote their characters at all in this film, man. They're just doing whatever the hell, trying to, like I said, in my opinion, it's just been a lot of drinking going on, and all these actors just came together, read the script, and just decided to, get as drunk as possible and just film this thing. Honestly, the way this movie was written, I feel like they just made this up as they went along. I felt like actors just showed up on set. They said, "What are we shooting today?" They hand them the script and they say, "Does this even remotely relate to what we filmed yesterday?" They say no, and they just go, "Okay, keep drinking and keep filming," because the movie is just makes no sense to me. Look, it was a pretty simple plot to an extent, but it tries to get a little complicated at the end. It just makes no sense. On top of that, none of these characters' motivations make any sense except for Christian Bale, John David Washington, and Margot Robbie. Robert De Niro is a politician, but they try to infiltrate some secret society or some shit like that. It's just, dude, this movie's trying to do too much, and it's wasting a lot of people's time, the audience included, but I'm really more worried about the actors in this film. How did you guys even get through this thing and say, okay, we did a good job? The actors did what they could. The actors didn't do poorly at all. Not you, Taylor Swift. The actors didn't do poorly at all. But I mean, they worked with what they could, and unfortunately, they worked with what they were given, and unfortunately, what they were given was a big pile of shit. So that's what you're working with. I do apologize, guys. I hope I don't ever have to see this much talent be wasted again on screen, but you never know in these days. All right, and at number 6, we got Bullet Train. Look, I am so upset at this movie, man. I walked in with my group of friends. It was I want to say maybe at least 4 or 5 of us. I had honestly thought we were all on the same page. We were kind of excited to see a Brad Pitt movie, Brian Tyree Henry, Aaron Taylor Johnson, see a bunch of guys on a train fighting it out, just trying to survive, all that good stuff. And that wasn't the same energy my friends had. They had a feeling this was going to be a shit movie. I was the only one walking in with very positive vibes, and my positive vibes got brought all the way down within the first 30 minutes of the film. I was so disappointed at what I was watching here. First of all, the written material in this movie is crap. And surprisingly, guys, I'm really saying a lot of actors portrayed themselves like we're probably drunk while filming this movie or filming their movies. I've said that about the past few movies I talked about. Brad Pitt was definitely drunk in this movie, man. I'm fully convinced this dude was not sober at all playing this character because he just couldn't deal with the crap that he was given, man. Like I said, these characters are given the most shit writing in the world. I don't understand who made these characters at all. First of all, you're a bad writer when you make Brian Tyree Henry just not funny and just annoying as hell, man. Him and Aaron Taylor Johnson just turned him into a bunch of babbling idiots. You're a bad writer when you're doing that, because Brian Tyree Henry is an immaculate talent, and I just don't understand how you could turn all of this. This isn't as big as an ensemble as Amsterdam was, but this was a good enough cast to where it should have been a more entertaining movie than what we got. Also, the most interesting part of this movie, or the most interesting concepts that they presented, was how the different cars, or as what I thought from the trailer, the different cars, have different rules and things like that. Like they had the quiet car scene and things like that. I thought that was going to be more played out throughout the movie. There's literally 2 scenes with that. Other than that, you can be as loud as you want on this damn train. Nobody cares. There's not different cars with different rules. It's literally just a quiet car. Doesn't really matter. Zazie Beetz, I hope you never, ever, ever have to do anything like this in your life again, where they waste so much of your talent to where you only have at least 3 lines, and one of them is saying bitch 73 times. I don't even understand what the purpose of that was. Bad Bunny, I'm hoping you never have to act in a movie again, brother, because you didn't have that many lines, but you were just bad. You're bad. You're bad, in not the good way, but Bunny. Look, man. I just don't need this movie to just ever come across my screen again. I'm gonna be very upset. I know it's on Netflix. I saw that. One of my friends told me they enjoyed it. We're not really talking at the moment right now. I'll probably talk to him next week. This was 2 weeks ago. He told me this information. He told me it was a really good movie. I'm not really going to entertain that statement. It's not. It's a terrible movie. Wasted your time. Wasted potential. Wasted everything, guys. Bullet Train is one fast train to nowhere. That's what that is. All right, so at number 5, we got Halloween Ends. Look, this movie literally told us in Halloween Kills, we have nothing for you in this franchise. We literally don't have any good ideas. We're trying to yell at you in this Halloween Kills sequel to a movie that was actually really, really good. The first Halloween that came out in 2018. They told us in Kills. They literally shouted at us, shaking our bodies, trying to tell us we have absolutely nothing for you in this franchise. Please do not go see this last one. But we listened to those advertisements that kept advertising the final battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, and we just couldn't help ourselves but wonder what that battle's going to look like. Well, it's in the last 15 minutes of the movie, so there's that. And we get a main story about Michael's protege. It doesn't even end up being his protege at the end of the day, and it just becomes a big waste of my fucking time. Look, Halloween Ends. I'm so glad it's over because that was just, what the hell. Jamie Lee Curtis, for being one of the most legendary scream queens ever, and that's how you guys go about her legacy. She is just a slap in her face. It's very disrespectful. I don't even understand. I'm really curious as to how like some of these movies even got approved, man. There's no way people watch this and went, yep, this is it. This is the one. Especially with Halloween Ends. And then, look, I understand there are people out there who are saying, the people who didn't enjoy Halloween Ends don't understand the concept or the lessons and how each film was portraying a different fear that Michael brings out of people. Like the first one was the fear of Michael Myers. The second one was the fear that Michael Myers brings into the town. And then this third one is just, his effect on the town with him not even being there. I get all that. But let me explain something to you. In a horror movie, if you have to deeply explain story elements to people about what it was trying to teach us and what it was trying to do, what it was trying to yada yada yada. This is Michael fucking Myers. I don't want to be taught anything. I don't want a lesson out of this film. I don't need a lesson from Michael Myers. I need Michael Myers on straight killing time, and that's what I got in Halloween 1 with very interesting story concepts and characters. And then they just completely took all that, balled it up, threw it away, made Halloween Kills, and literally told you we have nothing original for you except, the protege thing was kind of original. It was a direction I didn't expect it to go in because the trailer didn't show that at all. But of course, trailers aren't supposed to show you everything. But if they would have showed me that, I at least would have probably came into this movie with a different mindset, knowing that he's grooming someone else to be the Mike Myers, the new Mike Myers or whatever, or the new face of fear. But look, I'm just glad at the end of the day, everybody's dead. Oh, well, not Laurie, but Mike and the other kid. I'm just glad everybody's dead. I'm hoping they keep this thing buried. Please don't get Michael Myers back up again because you're ruining his legacy the more movies you guys make with this thing. Michael Myers is probably, out of all the legendary killers or the horror icons with Ghostface, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Mike Myers. Mike Myers now is probably on that back end. He's just way in the back. He's not even. I wouldn't even deem Michael Myers respected anymore at this point. Now, watch Mike Myers come into my crib later on and be like trying to get back at me for saying for disrespecting him, but highly doubt it because nobody's scared of you anymore, man. But at number 5, Halloween Ends, guys. Man, I am almost halfway through this, or more than halfway through this video, and I just realized my mic wasn't on. I apologize if the audio is bad in the previous clips of this, but I talked very passionately, so I wasn't going to re-record those. But look, as far as my next movie goes, guys, like I said in my review, and I will say it again, please, whatever disrespectful stuff I have to say about this movie, put Regina Hall all the way over there. She has nothing to do with the bad stuff that this movie presents. And at number 4, guys, we got Honk for Jesus. Save your soul. I still can't believe this movie was a thing, man. Oh my gosh, this movie was just complete and utter garbage, man. Sterling K. Brown gave one of the worst performances I've seen all year. Now look, granted, I do understand the purpose of the movie was to talk about the church and the corrupt pastors and things like that. And while he did play the corrupt pastor role very well, I guess, not even very well. He played it well enough to where that message is clearly on screen. Like, we understand that. Regina Hall is the whole star of this movie, and she's the only reason that this movie is even watchable. But first of all, to deem this movie a comedy and it just not even be remotely funny it's honestly painful to watch. It's very cringy comedy. Like I said, there's one scene in particular, well, this doesn't have to do with cringy comedy, but the only good scene in the movie for me personally was Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown doing the Nuck If You Buck scene. That is pretty legendary, I can't lie to you. That was pretty cool to watch on screen. But as far as I'm concerned, guys, this movie's just complete ass. Like, it's just, you can't call yourself a comedy and just not be funny. There was just a lot of cringy, just painful scenes to sit through. Not in a good way either. There's such a thing as good pain sometimes, but I mean, it's just very painful to sit through. This is just a very unfunny movie. It's just, I can't stand this movie, guys. I really can't. It was just so stupid. It was just so boring, so dull. Like I said, I understood the whole message of the film, but as I've said before, like, I just because there's an underlying message that the film has doesn't automatically make it good. It doesn't make the film automatically just magically put the wool over my eyes and say, oh wow, because that's the lesson of the film, I actually look at it this way. Some movies can do that for you, but no, not this one. No, not at all, because I was walking in expecting a comedy. I walked out having laughed about 4 times out of the, I'd say 60 plus attempts that they tried to make us laugh. But Sterling K. Brown just ended up making a fool of himself. Hope that never happens to him again, because I actually like Sterling K. Brown. I don't necessarily hate him for this movie. Look, you got to make your paycheck, man. You got to do what you got to do. Pick better projects, though, because The Predator already flopped, and now you're doing this, man. This Is Us ain't gonna save you forever. I think This Is Us is over. I don't know. I never watched that show, but look, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul is at number 4, and I really hope no movies like this ever made again. Unless Regina Hall is just the only person that returns, then I'd watch Regina Hall do whatever, any day, every day. But on to number 3. Alright, so at number 3 we got Moonfall. Man, this movie feels like it came out forever ago, but it came out in February. And I also remember it like it was yesterday, because I just can't get this crap out of my head. Literally, when I was making my list and I literally just came across the word Moonfall, it just took me back to a very painful theater experience that I had to see. I was in the theater by myself, and granted, the movie was in IMAX, so I had a whole IMAX theater to myself, so it was a pretty good time. But I just like being in movie theaters by myself because I enjoy the space, and it's kind of like my home. It's my home away from home. I like being in theaters by myself, but this movie itself just sucked. Like, this is a disaster movie. This movie continues to prove why nobody likes disaster movies. Halle Berry is literally the best actor in this movie. She's trying her best with I can't necessarily blame the material, because the acting's pretty shitty too. Like, she's doing her best with, her potential or her skill of acting. It's just the director didn't really help bring any good performance out of this movie at all. Patrick Wilson is literally one of the dumbest characters I've ever seen in my life. It's just very, very pointless, a very pointless film. Look, it's really just an excuse for people to say, oh my god, we are inside the moon. It was really just an excuse for that line to come across screen and just for somebody to say that. And dude, Moonfall is just a big waste of your time. I mean, there's not much more to say about it, man. It's just, Roland Emmerich has just continued to prove why nobody likes disaster movies. Disaster movies are a big waste of time. Don't know why we keep making them. Please stop. Please just end these. Don't need to see any more of these. Moonfall is a big reason for that. And now we are on to 2 of the biggest shit stinkers that came out this year. Now, it's crazy because when I talk about these 2 films, I want you to separate them from the rest of these, because these 2 movies took the complete cake as far as shit goes. So here we go. Alright, at number 2, we have Jurassic World Dominion. Look, if you've seen this movie, I'm so sorry. I feel so sorry for you, because this is very painful to sit through. This movie is the literal definition of let's just get this over with. First of all, I've never seen a blockbuster or a summer movie blockbuster with action sequences, dinosaurs, etc., and their stars just show up out of shape. Like, it's obvious that Chris Pratt was literally taking a break between Guardian shoots and just decided to put on a few pounds, just wanted to show up and film this thing. Even Bryce Dallas Howard looked a little pudgy, but she still looked kind of good. Laura Dern, Sam Neill, don't give a damn about anything that's going on in this movie. They literally just want to have sex with each other. That's all that's going on between those 2 characters. Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum. He's a cool cat. Never going to have a problem with Jeff Goldblum. But Look, this movie is literally one of the laziest strides to the finish line I've ever seen a movie make in a trilogy. Like this, like it's just no effort given whatsoever to make this thing remotely interesting. It's like all they had to build off of on Fallen Kingdom was the fact that the dinosaurs are now in the real world and we have nothing else to give you. Other than that, for something new or something quote unquote refreshing, let's give you guys bugs. Who the hell wants to see bugs? I paid for dinosaurs, not bugs. Why am I watching a movie about bugs and you guys having to stop them? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, man. This movie just frustrates me. Jurassic World Dominion was one of the biggest waste of times I've had in the theater this year, other than my number one film. But this movie really just didn't care at all about the Jurassic World name, or the Jurassic Park name, I should say. This movie really did follow in the footsteps of the original trilogy, where the first Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World were actually really good films. Jurassic Park is, of course, the superior, but Jurassic World I thought was really good, a really great, refreshing welcoming back into the Jurassic World, and I thought we were going to be able to build upon that. Fallen Kingdom came out, I thought it was okay. It tried a lot of stuff that did land with some people, didn't with others, and that's okay. At least they tried. This movie, however, just said, yeah, we have nothing for you. We have no idea how to end this thing, so we're just going to put together whatever the hell we can together on screen, give you a dinosaur, a few little fights, and just call it a day. We don't really have much for you here, and it's painfully obvious in the first, I want to say, 30 to 40 minutes of this film. It's pretty obvious that this film just has nothing for you. I mean, the action sequences, it's a pretty good chase scene with, him running from the Raptors and Chris Pratt riding his bike from the Raptors in town. That's a pretty interesting scene itself, but that's the only one. That's the only thing they have for you, literally just that scene. And even that scene has its issues. Look, I just had a lot of issues with Jurassic World Dominion in general, man. One, that this movie was even made, because I just don't understand why even put this out if you're not even going to try. They literally just wanted to bring back the original cast to make it feel nostalgic, make it feel like, everything's connecting. We're getting the two Jurassic Worlds combined, the Jurassic Park world and the Jurassic World world. We're getting those combined, and we're feeling all the nostalgic Jurassic feelings, yada, 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 walking through the park, seeing some dinosaurs. But no, they wanted to bring bugs out here. So this is nothing but a heaping pile of shit, and Jeff Goldblum, you can take it away.
That is one big pile of shit.
Because that pile just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The pile that Jeff Goldblum was looking at in that clip, this movie's actually a lot bigger than that. This movie's just a heaping pile of smelly shit. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to my number one worst film of the year. You guys can probably guess it. I'm sure y'all know what time it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Morbin time. So I hate that saying so much. All right, so at number one, we have Morbius. I mean, let's be honest. Is there really any movie that came out this year that's a lot worse than this one? Maybe, but it's probably on Netflix, Hulu, or Tubi or something like that. And I ain't really ranking those movies. I don't put unless the movie is like so bad I really had to talk about it. I only talk about theatrical releases. As far as my worst list goes. So here we go. Morbius. Look, this movie sucks. This movie literally had a fucking re-release because of a meme that was made about this film. It literally had a re-release and still couldn't even make enough money to even get a percentage of its profit back. Like this is just a complete waste of time. Look, Jared Leto, as talented as an actor of you are, you were just completely full of shit, bro. Like it's just plain and simple. Like Jared Leto's supposed to be starring in next year's Haunted Mansion remake, and while I am excited for that because Owen Wilson and Tiffany Haddish are in it, not necessarily Jared Leto. I think Jared Leto will do a good job in it, but any Jared Leto-led projects or anything he's doing relating to any comic book characters, I think we just need to put to rest at this point. First of all, I don't even understand why we took this character and decided to turn him into an anti-hero, but it just didn't work for me, man. First of all, and Matt Smith had us all fooled. Now, like I said in my Morbius review, Matt Smith is a very talented actor. Do not let this movie make you think otherwise, because in Last Night in Soho that came out last year, he was really good in it, and he was in this year's House of the Dragon, and you all seen how Daemon Targaryen does business. He is a badass. He is just a brute force of nothing but straight savageness. and Matt Smith can act his tail off. So in this movie here, doing his little fake Peter Parker Spider-Man 3 dance, I have to compare it to Spider-Man 3 because I have nothing else to compare that cringy dancing to. Tobey Maguire, however, did do it better. I like it. Yeah, that Tobey Maguire did it best. But that dancing that Matt Smith did, the acting that Matt Smith did, he clearly did not care about this project whatsoever. Nobody in this movie cared about this damn project, man. I mean, Jared Leto did, but he cared so much. Everybody else was trying to figure out why, dude. Why are you caring so much? Like, I don't understand. You don't need to make this a thing. The Michael Keaton advertisements. That's literally there to just put you in the theater, because that shit don't happen till the end of the film. That Michael Keaton don't have a damn thing to do with this movie, man. I don't understand why he's in it at all. They want to use Spider-Man connections to build their little Sony universe for these villains. Please stop. Now, I understand that you're already moving forward with Kraven the Hunter. I believe what Dakota Johnson is playing. Oh, Madam Web. And for whatever reason, you guys are doing El Muerto. That's going to be on my worst list next year. Or whenever that comes out, I can promise you that's going to be on my worst list. There's no reason in hell an El Muerto movie should be coming out. But this whole Sonyverse thing is just, it just needs to be scrapped. But what can I do, right? I'm just a reviewer. I have no say in what these movies being made at all. But Morbius is easily the worst movie I've seen all year, man. It's just a complete waste of time. It's garbage. It's crap. It's just bad CGI. It's just a big waste of time. It's really no purpose in seeing this movie whatsoever unless you just want to laugh. Now, you can get a kick out of this film because there's a lot of just bullshit that happens that's just fun to laugh about. If you watch this movie with a group of friends and you're just watching it for the hell of it, just to watch, and you get drunk, you can find a lot of funny things to enjoy throughout this movie. Like it's one of those movies where you can just get really drunk and laugh at the dumb shit going on. But for me, I don't even want to waste my time getting drunk on a movie like this. If I do, I'm going to end up getting alcohol poisoning because this movie's just going to get a lot worse for me. But look, Morbius is at my number one, guys. And look, those are my top 10 worst movies of 2022, including my little rant on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Look, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please let me know in the comments below, what are your top 10 worst movies of 2022? Is there any movie that you saw that on my list that you felt like wasn't as bad as I'm saying? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on your movies of the year. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and so much more. This is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.